All right, let's just dive straight in. The way we've all built our professional reputations for, well, for decades, it's pretty much been turned completely on its head. See, the gatekeepers aren't just people anymore. They're algorithms. And these new gatekeepers, they are playing by a totally different set of rules.
And this is a tough question, but it's one we've all got to ask ourselves right now. If an AI system, the kind that powers search engines and all these new discovery tools, if it can't find actual verifiable proof of your expertise, then does it even really exist online?
You see, for years, the whole game was about trying to trick the system. The old way was all about SEO, stuffing keywords everywhere and collecting as many backlinks as possible. It was pure manipulation. But the new way is a whole new ballgame. It's all about verification. These AI systems, they couldn't care less about how much content you have. They care about signals they can trust.
So that really gets to the heart of it. Just being seen isn't going to cut it anymore. You have to be able to prove that you're credible. The new gold standard is something called verifiable authority, a reputation that's built on solid evidence that both people and AI can look at and say, yep, that checks out.
So here's what we're going to cover today. We'll start with these new rules of reputation. Then, I'll introduce you to something called the IGEAS Authority Pipeline. We're going to break it down into its three main phases, and then we'll wrap up by talking about why this whole concept has become your new professional currency.
So this system is called IGEAS. Now, this isn't just some marketing fluff. It's a really structured, engineered system for building, measuring, and most importantly, demonstrating verifiable trust in a world that's pretty much run by AI now.
Okay, so here's the 30,000-foot view of the pipeline. It's a logical 8-step process that literally takes you from square one all the way to a final structured authority profile. Now, I know it might look a little complicated at first glance, but don't worry. We're going to break it down into 3 simple phases to show you exactly how it works.
So, phase 1 is all about the foundation. I mean, you can't build a skyscraper on shaky ground, right? This is where we nail down exactly who you are and what you stand for with total precision.
And the very first step here is absolutely critical. It's called ADD, or Authority Domain Definition. The best way to think about this is like the lens for the entire system. It defines your specific niche, your area of expertise. If you go too broad, all your signals get diluted and weak. But if you go too narrow, you might miss out on legitimate recognition. Getting this lens perfectly focused is key to everything that comes next.
From there, 2 more foundational pieces just lock right into place. First, there's SID, or Structural Identity Determination. This is basically your digital ID card. It just confirms you are who you say you are, which is so important for cutting through the noise. And then there's MAP, or Foundational Presence Analysis. Think of it like the "You Are Here" pin on a map. It just measures your current visibility to give us a clear baseline before we start building.
All right, so once that foundation is set, we move into phase 2, and this is where the action really starts. We're moving beyond just defining your presence to actively finding and verifying the proof, the real evidence of your authority.
And the heart of this phase is the ASE, the Authority Signal Engine. Its whole job is to go out and find and catalog every single external third-party signal that points to your expertise. We're talking media interviews, getting quoted in articles, invitations to speak at major conferences, citations of your published work, all that good stuff. These are the raw materials of a verifiable reputation. But here's the thing you absolutely have to understand. Not all signals are created equal. Not even close. This is shown perfectly with the authority signal pyramid. Down at the bottom, you've got your common foundational signals, like maybe an appearance on a local podcast. But as you climb that pyramid, the signals get rarer and way more powerful. All the way up to institutional authority at the very top, we're talking something like a government advisory role. Seriously, one signal from that top tier can be worth more than 100 from the bottom.
And that naturally brings us to the quality check, ARR, which is the Authority, Integrity, and Resilience rating. This is where the system really shows its power. ARR doesn't just count your signals. No, it evaluates their quality, their credibility, and how well they hold up over time. It asks the tough questions, like, is this recognition legit? Is the source credible? And is this authority built to last?
So how does it do all that? Well, it uses these things called influence layers. It starts at the very bottom with the ECS gatekeeper, which asks a super simple question. Can we find an external source that supports this claim? If the answer is no, boom, the analysis stops right there.
But if it passes, it moves up through more layers that check out the source's quality, whether it's independent, and finally its overall context. It's a seriously robust validation process.
And that brings us to the final phase, Phase 3. This is where all the data we've collected, verified, and scored comes together to create one single, comprehensive picture of your authority.
This is all done by SAM, the Structured Authority Matrix. Just think of it as the final assembly line. It takes all the foundational data, that big catalog of signals from the ASE and the quality ratings from ARR, and it integrates all of it into your final structured authority profile. This is the end result, a holistic data-backed snapshot of your entire professional reputation.
So let's zoom back out for a second. Why on earth would you go through all this? Well, it's because the very idea of professional currency has fundamentally changed. And honestly, understanding this is no longer optional. I mean, some estimates are saying that pretty soon, almost 90% of all information discovery will happen through an AI. Just let that sink in for a second. That means an algorithm is the new gatekeeper to your professional world. It's what decides who gets seen, who gets cited, and who gets recommended for that next big thing. And that brings us to what might be the single most important takeaway of this whole thing. Verifiable trust is the new currency, period. In this new world, your reputation isn't built on what you claim about yourself, it's built on signals that an algorithm can look at and independently verify.
And here's the bottom line. Having a high-integrity authority profile, the kind that's built through a process like IGEAS, is now the #1 factor for being featured by AI. It's what ensures you show up in those generated answers, in expert recommendations, and in all the discovery systems of the future.
So, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. In an age where algorithms are the new judges of who's an expert and who's not, is your reputation really built on a foundation of verifiable proof, or is it in danger of slowly becoming invisible?